years, we've been telling you stuff we want you to know. And now as a transition to your leaving high school, it's time for you to figure out what you would like to know and think about how you might learn that and set about learning it. And what you would like to know can be, here's what I think I want to do for a career, and I'd like to explore and see if it's interesting to me, or it could just be this is something I've always been interested in and I never had a particular place or time to pursue it, so I'm going to pursue it right now, even if it doesn't have anything to do with my long-term career or educational interests. Either one of those is fine with us. So I think that's really always been the goal of senior exploration and continues to be. So the year before we had our first senior class, there was a committee that was tasked with coming up with what the senior year in SAR High School would look like, how it would be different than every other year of school, and how it might be to some extent different than senior years in other institutions. And there was a group of people working particularly on envisioning and creating this senior exploration. While this kind of senior capstone experience exists in other schools, there's a lot about it that's unique and particular to SAR, and we found that our own people working on it from the inside had more insight into how the program could and should work than the consultants who came in from the outside. And then since that first year, there's been a lot of tweaking and retweaking and adjusting as we respond every year to our assessment of how the previous year went, what the strengths were, what the weaknesses were, what needed fixing. We keep tweaking it and working on it.
So senior exploration planning begins the summer before the senior year starts for the students, and the members of the senior exploration committee meet to talk about positives from the previous year, negatives, things they could change and implement. So we discuss these things every summer. Then we usually do, in the first semester around December, the mentor selection. So every single senior gets to have a faculty mentor to work with one-on-one through the course of the senior exploration project. How it works is students will choose a mentor, then meet with the mentor, and the mentor meeting initially will be all about choosing a potential topic. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a fleshed out essential question, exact plan of action, more just an idea they want to pursue. From there, students will then develop an essential question, which should be the guideline for their 5 weeks of 40 hours worth of work, or 30 hours for specific kids. After having essential questions, students will then submit the roadmap, and the roadmap is where they will decide what kind of research they want to do. They have to do some kind of research summary relating to book reading, scholastic journal articles, newspaper magazines, or a source of their own, and decide if they want to do field work, creative project, or some kind of research project. So that's the outline for senior exploration. We call it the roadmap. From there, students will then have to submit the research summary, which is due before Pesach. And after Pesach, every Tuesday and Thursday for 5 weeks, there's time allotted in the senior schedule to do their exploration project. So for some kids, they're going out into the field, they are working in hospitals, working in law firms, they are working for advertising companies, flavor chemistry lab. Other kids are doing creative project, like creating film documentaries, or creating a graphic novel, or one student this year is creating a dalet in the annex, another student's creating a garden in SAR. And then there's other kids who will be doing research in that time, and the expectation is that those 2 days a week afternoons are being devoted to Senior X. Every week a journal is due, so it's supposed to be a reflective piece on what they've done in that time, talk about the positives, negatives, what they wish they could have done, how they feel if they're being underutilized, how's the relationship with the mentor. So there's 4 journal entries due, after the initial week of senior exploration. And then there's a presentation, and every senior has to give a presentation encompassing a period where they have some kind of slideshow, perhaps PowerPoint, some kind of visual to really enhance the audience engagement. And then the students get graded based on the presentation, their product, their journals, and their research summaries.
At this point, senior exploration is run by a steering committee, this year of 7 people. And Michael Courtney is overall in charge of it, making sure that things happen, keeping after students to complete work deadlines and everything else. Decisions and policy for senior exploration are set by the Committee of 7. We also have a few students who are always involved as the student voices to the steering committee, and also the steering, sort of bringing what the steering committee says back to the students in the grade.
Every student has to find one kind of Judaic source, whether it's the Gemara, whether it's the Tanakh, whether it's the Jewish literature, Jewish philosophy, and incorporate that into the topic.
If we believe, should do that as Jews, we should find religious meaning in everything that we do, and that Torah should shape the way that we see the world, and the world should shape the way we see Torah. So if we're taking on something new in that kind of way, then we should make sure to explore the Torah components, what Yahadut has to say about it as well. So it felt very appropriate, especially since it's a culminating event of your time at SAR, so that's a piece of what should be going on for your senior exploration. Well, when we started, we didn't have any Jewish component, and then we realized that was missing, so we put it in. Putting it in, it has felt like an add-on. So kids would do their senior exploration and then say, okay, how am I going to add this piece, and then do a little bit of research. But it didn't feel integrated, and we felt like we didn't structure it enough so that it would be a stronger component of the project. So when we proposed the idea of a Bogrim program where graduates would be coming back to learn, but also to work with kids, so we were exploring ways in which, what could they do for the last few weeks of school, and there was a perfect kind of overlap between when they were joining the school and when seniors really working on senior exploration. And so in a certain sense, what could be better than having kids who graduated the school who are coming back to learn engage graduates who are seniors who are about to leave the school, who are about to confront the world, and for them to be working together on how do you integrate Torah learning into whatever it is that you might be exploring in life. So it seemed like a perfect fit, and it's the first time we're running it, so we're hoping the seniors are prepared. I mean, the graduates are prepared too, and hopefully it'll be good.
The role of the mentor is really to help the student get through senior exploration.
Different years it's been different. For some mentees it's really been checking in all the time, helping with formulating the questions, formulating the plan, brainstorming about how to go about whatever they were doing, etc. For some mentees, it's really a once-a-week check-in, everything's fine, or I'm having a little bit of a problem with this, can you help me with that? More casual. So it really depends more on the person.
That's the nature of the role of mentor, not being an expert on whatever. The relationship of the student to the mentor is crucial. That's why we ask students to give us a sense of whom they would like for their mentors. The nature of the mentoring relationship is that it's about somebody helping a student move through their senior exploration project, both in a way that fulfills our requirements and in a way that enables the kid to get as much out of it as possible.
I knew I was going to be doing something in music when I wrote down who I wanted to be my mentor. I knew Rabbi Friedman had a background in music and that he could probably help out on more than just a management level. Like usually mentors are just going to be making sure that you have your deadlines all right. I know that if he's my mentor, I can go to him and I can say, what do you think would be good for this sound? Specifically, for the music, which is something that not many other teachers could have offered.
Well, easy choice, Mr. Wander. Like, why would he not choose it? Are you kidding me? But first of all, he's a musician.
Yeah,
he
so
has experience in the field. He's also played on the street before. So he's a great guy. Yeah, picking it wasn't a hard choice. Then his involvement, he's been with us all the time. He's next door, so he comes by, checks on us,
like
helps
literally
us out.
next door in our room.
Yeah, exactly. Helps us record, lets us use his guitar, gives us guidance, keeps us on schedule even though we've been falling behind a lot.
Yeah. Without him, we would have done it eventually, but like it would have taken
we needed those
at
deadlines.
least the rest of the year and the summer.
Well, I can't really speak about what other mentors do or should do, but what I can speak about is what I do. And I know the feeling that they have when they said I want to play out and busk in the street. Because I had that feeling once too, and I was playing in a band. And when you play in a band and you're playing out a lot, you really practice a lot. And it's the whole band playing. Now sometimes in bands, musicians kind of pair up and they go, okay, let's just try some new stuff out in the street and let's see how it goes. So I did that with a fiddle player once, and we played a little bit in Washington Square Park. And I thought, boy, this is a great feeling. When people came by, I think there was a competition in Brazil where they filmed us for Red Bull. Yeah, they filmed some original songs for Red Bull. So we were filmed to do this, and I thought these guys should have this experience. So it gave me a chance to kind of relate that to them and the excitement of being out there. And then actually see them go out there and play is going to be a real joy. So as a mentor, it allowed me to actually grow in this process also, and actually give something to them, and then actually they're going to be giving back to other people when they play. So it's a really nice system.
Well, my mentor is Mr. Andrews, and he's actually been really helpful. He has had some experience with app design and a lot of the things that we're using, so he's been able to suggest good resources for us to use, things to look at, and he's helped give ideas that we might not have thought of on our own, point out problems, and he's helped really guide the project, I think.
Yeah, my mentor is Miss Daly, and so I think since she doesn't have a background in apps or design or anything of that nature, I think she provides an outsider's perspective on looking at the app from not a designer, not one of us. I mean, it's hard for us to look at the app objectively. We try to take a step back and say, all right, let's look at the app as if we're using it. What are the problems? What can be made easier? Things like that. But she can provide a perspective of, I don't know how you're designing or what you're doing, but can you do this? This could be made easier. Is this a better design? And I think from an outside perspective, I think that's always a good thing.
I mean, I think it's cool that they let the students choose, but assuming that the student's gonna be smart with their choice and not just pick a teacher they love. I mean, I'm sure like I know one of the kids in our grade ended up not being able to do it, but her original plan for Senior X was to dress up as Elmo in one of the amusement parks and take pictures with kids. There's no one teacher in the school that has a specialty in dressing up as a character, you know what I'm saying? But so I think it's cool that you're able to choose, because if it doesn't matter who it is, you might as well just pick a teacher you like. But in this case, when there are teachers who do play music and are experienced in this, as well as other students, Senior X's, where teachers do the same thing or have that topic as a hobby or whatnot, then I think it's smart for the student to choose someone they know could help.
There are a lot of different teachers in the school with a lot of different talents.
Yeah, which is cool.
Plenty of choices.
Mentors in general, for any topic, I would love to see some kind of list of teachers and outside interests and things that maybe students in general can be paired up with teachers who have some connection to the interest. It's not that they're going to help you with your student exploration, but if you're excitedly talking about what just happened at your internship, but the person you're talking to will understand what you're talking about, makes the conversation flow better, and I think that makes it easier also when you get stuck on something, that the mentor can kind of help you along, well, have you thought about this, have you thought about that, because they're familiar with the topic.
I used to agree that the person who's your mentor doesn't need to know about your subject at all. I'm beginning to wonder if they ought to, if not know about it, they don't have to know about it, doesn't have to be, English, whatever, but have some interest in it. I think you ask better questions of your mentee when you actually think what they're doing matters. Both my mentees this year are doing things that I think are really interesting, and that helps, because I want to know what happens. I want to read their journals. So that might be, I don't know, again, I think administratively, and as the classes get bigger, that's going to get harder to tailor it, but if I was going to change it, we would.
I think the big successes are for a student who feels like maybe they didn't accomplish as much academically as they are. This is a way they really do accomplish and they achieve, and they're valued for their achievement. So this isn't something where just kids who got an ace throughout high school do well. This is something where the vast majority of the grade does well. Or for some students who really just want to get their creativity out there and didn't have that chance to express themselves in high school, this is the chance they have to express themselves. And we've seen some beautiful art pieces, some beautiful music pieces, some beautiful photography. And it doesn't matter what grades you got in high school, this is a chance for you to have a clean slate and really make something of yourself with this one class.
Our Senior X project, for our project, Rabbi Hartstock had asked us to program an app for the iPhone where it'll be called Trending Topics in the Modern Orthodox World. And it's going to have people uploading articles and videos and things of that nature to the app, and they're going to be tagging them with tags that are preset like Shavuot, Shabbos, Kosher, and more specific tags within those, things of that nature. And we're going to sort tags by the ones that have gotten the most articles uploaded. And when you log onto the app, the first thing you're going to see is a list of tags with topics that say, what is the modern Orthodox world talking about? What is trending in the modern Orthodox world? And you can click on those tags, topics, and you can go into them and see the articles that people have uploaded and what they're talking about.
I decided to accept the offer of Rabbi Hartstock to make this app because it would be a really good chance to apply the coding knowledge that we had gained from the comp sci class, and we can actually use it in a real world situation because the apps are a big growing thing right now.
For me personally, I've wanted to learn how to program an iPhone app, I've wanted to learn how to do that kind of thing so that in the future when we have more apps programmed and when we come up with ideas, that inevitably Mickey and I will look at each other one day and say, oh, that could be an app. So you really want to know how to do that. So this gives us an opportunity to find tools like this and find things that will help us for the future. So the fact that we get to do it as part of a senior exploration with an app that fits fairly well to the tool we found, I think is a big plus.
There was a student who decided for his senior exploration he would learn how to ride and fix a motorcycle. He would get a motorcycle license, he would learn how to repair a motorcycle, and he would learn how to ride one. I'm not sure that would fit now, but that was what and he worked in a mechanic's shop. He did a lot of things, what it meant to get a license, and he boiled it down to what you needed in order to be a safe driver of motorcycles. And his presentation focused on, that was sort of the rubric, and focused on what do you need to do to be safe and a responsible motorcycle driver. And he had pictures of him with the mechanic, interviews, lots of things, far more extensive than much of his usual work in school, much more comprehensive than other things he had produced. And at the very end of it, he said, what I have learned here, and he went back over, these are the components needed to be a safe driver of motorcycles, and I should not have a license. I am not going to learn how to ride a motorcycle now because I don't meet these criteria. And I thought that person has learned something about themselves, the nature of driving, about the nature of safety, about when you take risks and when you don't. And that was one of my favorite because I really felt there had been growth.
Other successes are, for example, there's a senior who graduated 4 years ago who's now working full-time for the company that he interned with during senior exploration, and he's doing quite well.
For my senior exploration, I interned with a real estate consulting and investment company. And what they do is they specialize in reducing water and tax bills for property owners and managers in New York City. And we also use that consulting knowledge to acquire properties throughout the 5 boroughs, and we've amassed a nice portfolio. Real estate was something which was really ingrained in me. My grandfather was a developer, my mother was a developer, and growing up I was always exposed to real estate environments, and I was always very interested in real estate and property and these types of ventures, and it was just something which I always wanted to do, and I knew that's where I would end up. I actually have a tremendous amount of hakaras hatov, tremendous amount of thanks to Alon Kraus, Mr. Kraus. And Mr. Kraus used to live in Teaneck. He's since moved to White Plains, if I recall correctly. And Mr. Kraus had a friend from his shul, a guy named Mark Schwartz, who was the owner of this consulting and also a real estate company. And he felt that our personalities would be very compatible, and he introduced us, and I ended up interning for him that summer, and for my senior exploration, and for several years thereafter. The advantage that I have over most people is that I started in this same company with the same people in the same industry about 6 years ago. About 6 years ago when I graduated from SAR, because I've been with all these same people for so many years, and that really allowed me to excel and really allowed me to move through the ranks, as they say, a lot quicker and a lot more than other people. When I started, I was working as an intern, and then in the summers, you know, I moved up. I was doing sales and cold calling and looking for properties and things that most people do. And now, over the past couple of years, we expanded into a new type of real estate consulting, and we founded a new company in order to do so, and that's where I'm involved with today. I think the most valuable lesson that I took out of the senior exploration was that you really learn time management, and you learn that I learned that I had the ability to be in school and to also work at the same time. I'm actually graduating in 2 weeks from City College. I've been attending school on a full-time basis online while simultaneously working full-time. And you know, being in the senior exploration and doing almost the same thing, trying to work full-time and trying to be in school full-time, I really figured out that I myself can do that, and I learned how to manage my time much better, which enabled me to do so.
Senior exploration can be a very positive experience for students who normally aren't as successful academically, because it gives them an opportunity to study a subject without having to memorize or spit back in test format. Because it's a different format, it goes to the creative almost. It allows students who sometimes don't have an opportunity to show how successful they could be to be successful in this, and they'll take to it and run with it, and some of the products that they produce are some of the best products in the grade.
Every single year, same thing happens with Senior X. Every single year, a few weeks into the project, we say, wow, there are a lot of kids who don't seem to be doing anything. They're sort of hanging around, not really sure if this is worth it, not really sure if kids are invested. And then every single year, 3 weeks after that, when the presentations start, we say, wow, there are some kids who did great work, who did great projects, who did great things. And of course, both things are true about senior exploration, because the cardinal rule of senior exploration, as I told you, is you get out of it what you put into it. So there will be students who are sort of hanging around, not doing very much, not investing in the senior exploration, and consequently not getting as much out of it as they might. And every single year, there are the students who, whatever the project is, invest in it, throw themselves into it, have a profound experience, and do a remarkable job. And every year, however questioning we might be of the program 3 weeks into it, that's how confident we are after the presentations happen that this is worth it and it's valuable and it's something that we should keep doing. Because you watch students who might be quiet or, you know, just good kids who fly below the radar and people don't really necessarily pay that much attention to them, get up with confidence and with energy and with enthusiasm and excitement and present their senior explorations. And you remember why it is that we do this program.
I think one of the unique character traits about SAR in general is its open, warm environment, and that's not necessarily reflective of what the work environment is like, but by being in such an open environment, you learn to be very tolerant of other types of people and other types of behaviors, and those are very valuable traits that people need to have in the workplace when you're dealing with people of different cultures, different ethnicities, different religions, people with different habits. And I think one thing that I really learned in business and in my career is that you need to take each person for what they're good at, and look at each person, look at what they bring to the table, not necessarily what they detract. And by doing so, it enables you to really take advantage of the great skills that a lot of people have that you may not have, and it creates a much more positive work environment.
I think one of the exciting things about Senior X are the students, especially this year, who are doing some kind of Senior X that relates to SAR. So you have one student who's doing a graphic novel on the SAR experience. Another student is creating photography on the SAR experience. One student is implementing a garden in the back of SAR. Another student is creating a Dalet in the annex. 2 students are working on an SAR app for iPhone, iPad that has to do with modern orthodoxy. So there's a lot of almost like a legacy to SAR through senior exploration. I think that's a beautiful thing.
When I asked the kids to describe the different projects they were working on, it felt like it was a wide range of projects, and actually sounded like when kids described it, the things they were really interested in and kind of socially important. It didn't feel like busy work types of things. And I know that there are always some kids who are really going to take it on, and some kids for whom, you know, it's already the senioritis piece, so there's going to be a range. But I feel like overall, it felt like it was what we were hoping for it to be.
Thank you.
Splashing in your sea of blue, falling back to you. In the sea of blue.
Take it, Gavi.